People are fucking scared. They are terrified. And you know what? I do not blame them. Rightly so. Because I feel like this is all becoming normal.
Don't you realise it's not normal that people working 40 hours a week on minimum wage still have to queue at a food bank to top up their supply?
Cost of living. I don't need to tell you how expensive things are in the UK, and it's getting worse and worse. Even with a half-decent job, it's a struggle.
You're talking about 40% of our country are living paycheck to paycheck. They're admittedly one emergency away from potentially going into debt.
There are thousands of people in there that haven't even got any money left at the start of the month.
Been in England for about 30 minutes and I've already spent 40 quid. Money goes nowhere here. It's actually true.
England's expensive, houses are expensive, the cost of living's expensive.
The UK is an embarrassment and it has truly gone down the Swanee. But the country is in such a dire situation. Corrupt beyond belief, everyone is taxed left, right and centre.
And it makes me think, why would anyone with any level of financial freedom choose to stay in England?
The UK is absolutely finished. The evidence is out there for you to see yourself, and it is not hidden. People just don't go and look for themselves.
The average UK household now pays around £4,200 a year just to cover the interest on the government debt, not to reduce it, not to pay it off. That's just interest.
But then you want to tax us more on our rent, our council tax, our water bills, our electric, our gas. It don't make sense. Everything tax, 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 tax. Sugar tax.
Welcome back to Broken Britain, where we say what real people are feeling, not what politicians wish we'd say. Everywhere you look, people are barely hanging on. Bills up, rent up, food up, everything except your wages. Families working 2 jobs just to keep the lights on, young people skipping meals to pay rent, and pensioners turning off the heat because they can't afford another energy bill. This isn't tightening your belt anymore. This is survival. The middle class is shrinking. The working class is drowning. And the people at the top are telling you it's fine, inflation's down. Meanwhile, every trip to Tesco feels like a robbery, and every paycheck disappears before the month's half over. So hit that subscribe button, because today on Brit Rants, we're asking the question nobody in Westminster will. If this is what recovery looks like, how is anyone supposed to live in Britain anymore?
This is the reality of our country, and I can't believe more people aren't talking about it. I've been making videos for the last few months saying I don't understand how normal working people are surviving week to week, month to month. And this story epitomises that. And it's heartbreaking. So I was sat having a coffee. On the table next to me, a lady comes over, sits there for maybe 10, 15 minutes, but she's on the phone for most of the time. And she was on the phone to, I think it was a family member. I'm not sure if it was daughter, son, but it was definitely a family member. And towards the end of the conversation, she says, my council tax hasn't come out yet. Bearing in mind, this is like the 6th or 7th of November. And she says, I've got 200 quid left. When that comes out, I've got 50 quid to last me the month. I was like, holy fuck. She's basically got 3/4 of a month to last with 50 quid. And this is the sad reality of our country. How on earth is she going to survive for nearly a full month with 50 quid? We've got Christmas coming up as well. People start the Christmas shopping, don't they, in November? Now, like I say, I don't know this woman. I don't know what her situation is. I don't know what her finances were. But she certainly wasn't there living the life of luxury. Like I say, working class town, normal working woman. And by the 6th of November, 7th of November, she's got 50 quid left to last the rest of the month. How on earth do people survive? And at the end of the month, there's going to be another 3% increase on income tax. And I think VAT is going to go up. And then you've got 3 pence a mile coming on your electric cars, which we know will filter down to normal cars. I keep thinking breaking points here, and people are going to be like, I haven't got enough money now to pay, so I can't pay. But how on earth do these people keep digging themselves out of this hole? I just don't understand it. But that's heartbreaking. 50 quid to last you nearly 3/4 of a month. Holy shit, what in the broken Britain?
Let's talk about the cost of living. Don't you realise it's not normal that people working 40 hours a week on minimum wage still have to queue at a food bank to top up their supply? The Trussell Trust handed out nearly 3 million emergency food parcels last year. And before we play the blame game, the majority of those parcels didn't go to immigrants, but to British citizens just doing their best. Don't you realise it's not normal that two people have to move in together just to afford a roof over their head? Forced to stay, not out of love, but out of rent. It's not normal that saving for a house feels like buying the moon on tick. Our granddads bought homes, drove cars, raised kids, all on one wage. Nan could stay at home and raise those kids, not because she had to, but because she could. So what happened, Britain? When did getting by become the dream? When did Sunday roast turn into Sunday stress? And suddenly Dad don't wear his Sunday best because on a Sunday, he's still at work. He don't get no rest. It feels like the man's got his boot on our neck and somehow he's taxed them too. Plumbers, sparkies, builders, brickies earning 50 grand, but after tax it feels more like 30. 30 grand to cover the van, the tools that keep getting nicked, the petrol, the bills, the kids, and that's before the rent's due. Meanwhile, the big dogs move billions through postcodes that don't even exist, sipping tax-free lattes, while the rest of us just sip and sigh. Last week, the Chancellor had the cheek to tell us to do our bit. But if she walked in our shoes for a minute, she'd quit. They tell us times are tough. But tough times made us. They squeeze us dry, then sell us rain and call it growth. This goes beyond skin colour. And what religion you are, my brother, they want us fighting each other while they get richer, whilst they watch us suffer. You wonder why mental health's gone through the roof, because we've had it up to here, while suicide's the biggest killer of men under 30 in our country. We're carrying the weight of the world on our shoulders, and if they could tax the boulders, they would. Yet we smile and we graft and we get on with it, because that's what we know how to do best. Make the best out of a bad situation, but I won't stay quiet. I'll keep speaking, writing, rhyming, underlining what's really going on while they distract us with headlines and hashtags. It's clear the devil's at work, but I still believe God's got a plan, because they can tax everything. Our work, our wages, our warmth, our will, but they can't tax our love. And they can't tax our laughter. And that's what keeps us alive.
Been in England for about 30 minutes and I've already spent 40 quid. Money goes nowhere here. It's actually true. All I've got is this, and it's just to pay to get out and just to pay to get on a train and just to move, because I can't even drive a car and park it here because that costs an arm and a leg. And I can't even sit down because there's no space, because London's too busy and money goes nowhere. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the UK. I feel like just living here is a waste of money. Living in the UK is a waste of money. I'm booking a one-way flight out of here in July. I don't know when I'll be back. Not only that, food tastes of shit. Unless I want to buy some food, go home and cook it, which I can't do because I can't get home for 2 hours. I can't eat unless I buy something in a shop that tastes of plastic, because it's full of emulsifiers, it's full of preservatives, it's full of seed oils, and it tastes of plastic. Quality of life here just ain't worth it, because money goes absolutely nowhere here. I already feel in a hostile environment already compared. Do you know what I mean by a hostile environment? When you land back in England, you feel it.
It's when I come to nice countries like this, with good weather, happy people, everyone's buzzing, even the locals, they're all chilling. Even if they're making no money, they're happy, they're getting on, they're all right. And it makes me think, why would anyone with any level of financial freedom choose to stay in England? You know, the country's absolutely gone to the dogs. The game's long gone. Millionaires are leaving by the minute because the tax rates are just insanely high. It's unfair. It's not real. You know, why should you be punished for being more successful than the average Joe? It just doesn't make any sense. And, you know, there's no longer any freedom of speech. It used to be a free country when I was a kid. These days, you get your door kicked in and put in prison for making a comment on Twitter. You know, come on. It's Twitter. Everyone gives it a big balls on social media. Everyone chats shit behind the screen. That's just how it is. But yeah, country's absolutely gone. As soon as I have the freedom to, I'll be out of there. Come on.
The UK is an embarrassment, and it has truly gone down the Swanee. As someone who does love their country, and I'm very proud to be from, you know, Britain, United Kingdom and all that good stuff, right? And we have an incredible history and we've done incredible things, but the country is in such a dire situation. Corrupt beyond belief. Everyone is taxed left, right and centre. there is no wiggle room anymore. We do not have politicians working in our favour. And I'm really frustrated because I've got good friends heading off to Dubai because they haven't got to pay much tax, if any at all, but there is some tax to be paid, and they're leaving the country. You know, we're losing good people who, you know, contribute to the economy, who provide jobs. You know, people are being squeezed for every penny. There's no incentives. The top players are getting richer and everyone else below has to suffer. All politicians are the worst. It doesn't matter about Conservative, Labour's, left wing, right wing. It doesn't fucking matter. They're all as bad as each other. This country has got to a stage where it seems like every month the tax situation is getting worse. We're starting to tax stocks and shares, ISA. There's very few like safe havens for tax wrappers. There's nothing in it for the British people. There is nothing in it for the people who live here and are trying to, you know, better themselves and get themselves out of situations, and, you know, people who are trying to get off universal credit to start a business. This country is just, you know, and this frustration. I got an email today from our dental practice, and one of the best dentists there, she's an incredible woman, has announced that she's leaving because she's so frustrated of the lack of funding that the NHS get. So she's gone totally private to start her own practice, and she's apologised and said, look, I can't stay here because it's just the time and effort, we're just being bent over backwards, and I feel the pain. You know, business owners now, you know, are really having to work through narrow gaps and trying to find these loopholes and tax benefits, and there's very far and few between. It's incredibly frustrating. And, you know, my God, look at our soldiers in World War I and World War II. What would they think of it now? You know, do you think, you know, going over the hill or going onto the beaches, you know, they'd be proud of any of this? You know, we're fighting for a country that, you know, equality and respect and value and for the people. It's not that. The UK is embarrassing. And it's even got me thinking, you know, in the next 5-10 years, is it worth getting out to live a better life elsewhere? I don't know. People have mixed views on this, but someone who is quite patriotic, you know, I'm proud of what the country's done and the achievements in the past, whether people think they're right or wrong. And, you know, Britain's or the United Kingdom is not perfect by any means. But, you know, once upon a time, it's great to say, you know, I'm from the UK. Now it's like, fucking hell, what? Blatantly corrupt country. But you can't do anything about it. I mean, look, Carol Vorderman's trying to expose a lot what's going on, and good for her. But, you know, look what happened during the viral time. We all know what we're on about. Millions upon millions upon millions upon millions. New SPV companies opened up. Loads of money went through. No filing history. SPV closed. Where's all the millions of pounds gone? All these ministers and MPs that got the little backhander. No one asked. No one blinks an eyelid. No one asked any question. But everyone's crippled. The taxes in this country are absolutely ridiculous and nothing but a joke. Anyway, rant over.
As somebody that's lived in the UK their entire life, I can tell you it's finished. But I'm not going to address my opinion. I'm just going to give you the facts. In 2023, 12,187 individuals were arrested for online comments, according to Section 127. That is 33 arrests every single day for comments on Twitter or online comments in general. So much for a democratic country. Last year, there was 54,000 knife attacks in the United Kingdom. Not a little number, is it? That went up 5% from the previous year, and it's gone up 5% since last year, and it seems to be increasing at a crazy rate. Essentially, for every 100,000 people, you have 185 knife crime offences, and within London, obviously, the number is much higher. 8.1 per every 100,000 people are sleeping rough with absolutely no support. That's a 164% increase since last year. And whilst wages are increasing slightly, inflation is increasing at a rate of 4 to 5% basically every single year. And arguably the most shocking stat of all of these is that a pint price in London is £6.50 on average, whereas it is £2.50 in 2000, just before I was born. That's in my lifetime, it's changed that much. There are about 10 other issues I could have gone on about there, but it would have just been way too long of a video. The UK is absolutely finished. The evidence is out there for you to see yourself, and it is not hidden. People just don't go and look for themselves. Look, the UK still has its good sides. There's still very lovely parts to it. But economically, in terms of crime, financially, it's finished.
It's so funny that governments will literally sit in Westminster and be like, oh, why does everybody hate us? And do so many like consultations, meetings with special advisors and consultants. when if you can literally just make people's lives better by giving them things that they can point to and say, oh, this government put this in place and now my life is better, then people will like you. Like in Scotland, us having free prescriptions, I can point to that and I can say, I like that policy. I like the government who put that policy in place. Same with free higher education. I can say that my life for those two policies is better living in Scotland than it is living in England. Literally the politics of home life. If you can bring people's bills down, help them access health and social care, make them be able to look at their paycheck and say, oh, I could keep more of my own money this month, people will like you. It's not that hard.
So I've just seen on Instagram that electric cars are being taxed 3p. I think it's 3p a mile. Bro, wasn't it the government that were like, diesel's becoming expensive, petrol's becoming expensive, so we're gonna put that up. But we want you to try and convert to electric because it's safer and easier for the environment, which it actually isn't, because you need more oil to create the batteries that go inside them cars, plus the charging stand, and then running the electricity. So, and now you want to tax when someone's driving. Electric cars are dangerous anyway because they're electric, they can be hacked, right? I'm surprised somebody hasn't done this already. Like, if everybody ends up being in an electric vehicle, then who's to say that one day the government or some random person doesn't fucking hack the entire grid, shut everything down, starts taking control of all your vehicles, your cars, your house, your home, your phone, like, and guess what? It was all taxed. Everything that you paid for, whoom! Someone could just take it like that. There was a thing, I don't know if it was actually in America, but someone's car just started self-driving itself back to the fucking repo. Because they hadn't paid their thing. They hadn't paid their payment. So the car drove itself back to the dealership. But you continuously want us, Nigel Farage wants us to work for the same job that we were doing before and get less money. But then you want to tax us more on our rent, our council tax, our water bills, our electric, our gas, travel. And now your car was already taxed as it is. Now you want to do this. We pay road tax. Why am I paying tax to drive on a fucking road that's always got potholes or is always being blocked off? Like, yo, England is fucking backwards, bro. I'm actually over it. Like, I'm really over it. Like, it don't make sense. Everything tax. Sugar tax. Half the foods that we eat, yes, cool. That's one up that we have over America in the sense of like our food quality. But the sugar tax is run down things here. Cool, it might have aided people being more healthier. We now have a sugar tax again in restaurants where you are only allowed 1 cup of soda per meal. And if you want another one, you have to buy another one. Even the middle class people who get really good money and really good jobs here, even soon they're going to start struggling, because I know a lot of people who, you know, very minted. And do you know what? I always see these things on Instagram. It's like, oh, get this thing in an LLC and do this and do that and rah rah, put it in a trust fund. That's in America. Why do we not have a millionaire or a billionaire teaching shit like that here? Like, I read it the other day. 40%. That is a big fucking number. 40% of Americans are millionaires or billionaires. One of them. I think it's millionaires. 40%. That's almost half, bro. That is crazy. A majority of them are, I think it was like between 35 and under. That's crazy. I would love to be financially stable like that. Someone teach me. Oh, wait, I can't because I'm not American. Like, bro, I love my country, and I always say America gives me a new reason every fucking year to never move there. And I still stand by that. I will not move to America. Like, Unless I know that I'm being paid millions. Like, that's the only way you're getting me over there. I'm never going to go move there willingly unless I'm being paid millions all the time to survive. Because, bro, I can step out on that road and boom, 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 boom. That's it. Lick up. Shit, that stuff can happen here too, but it's not as common. But as much as this has been my home, London is my home, England is my home, and there's so much more of this country that I can explore. There's so much of it that I haven't seen. So many great food places, sights to see, places to be, people to meet. I'm slowly becoming how I feel towards England, how I feel towards America. I think that's why a lot of my friends ended up leaving. Loads of my friends who are like uni students and like, or who even lived here, they've moved out of the country. I got a couple friends that live in Sweden. I got a friend that moved back to the Cayman Islands. I got another friend that moved, two of my friends moved back to Jamaica. One of my friends moved to Ireland. One of my favourite dog trainers has moved to America. Nobody wants to be here no more. And then you're like, oh, the immigrants are making it worse. The immigrants are doing this. Oh, we need to send them all back. Well, guess what? Because at this point, it's only going to be immigrants in this country because nobody want to be here no more. My aunts live in Portugal. Don't want to live here no more. Half my family want to go back to Barbados, Jamaica. They don't want to live here no more. So when the majority leave and you're stuck with all the people that you don't like, or all the immigrants, the foreigners and whatever, then what? Then what you gonna fucking do? Send them back and have an empty country? Tax them even more? Because guess what? It's actually the immigrants who are in this country. It's the reason why we fucking are so high up in so many different aspects. Because without them, we wouldn't be fucking doing what we're doing. So what? You're gonna charge them and all that because them man have got degrees on so much, especially maths, English, sciences. Like, they're fucking smart as shit. That's why so many have business here and they thrive really well. Because you can't tax them. They'll just find a way, they'll find a loophole. Like, why can't we be taught that loophole? Why do we not know this? Why do we not know the basics of life? Like, I was deep in it the other day. Like, I was talking to one of my friends and I was like, we have so, like, as young people, we are set up to fail. We will, like, the next generation, including mine and the generation after, will not even be able to afford to buy a house. They will not earn enough money to be able to do that, let alone a car, let alone rent. Like, rent is disgusting. The average person struggles for rent. I live in a 1-bedroom house. I'm almost paying £900 in rent for a 1-bedroom little house. I'm not living in no crazy big place or whatever. I ain't got no giant bedroom. I got the tiniest little bathroom, the tiniest kitchen. Like, bro, and I don't want to be paying that type of money, bro. Like, that's long. That's the type of money I expect to pay for, like, a studio that's huge. Astrid, go upstairs. Like, England is becoming ridiculous. All the things that I want to do and stuff like that. Like, when I have my children, like, bro, I'm scared. I'm scared for them because, bro, my nieces and my nephews, my young cousins, they're about to grow up in a world that is so fucked, bro. I'm still growing up in a world that's fucked and I'm struggling. I'm already an adult, paying bills and all that shit. What the fuck are the next generation gonna do? The only positive that I've seen is the first time, and I think in like 60 years, the curriculums in England are changing. But if the curriculums in England are changing, they better be something that's worth fucking teaching. You better be teaching about tax and all that shit and how to fucking survive in this world, because God forbid something happens, the average person can't survive. Like, bro, I've got friends who are like young, like 20 and up, or like between 19 and 22. They don't know fuck about survival. They don't have to pay rent. They don't understand bills. They don't understand tax. They don't understand none of that shit. Because they live with their parents. They're chilling there, like, because that's their fucking safety. That's everyone's safety net. I know big people that have moved back in with their fucking parents, bro. And they're big 40, 50. It's hard, bro. If the UK want to sit there and survive and be a strong empire and take over and all that shit, they need to start changing up things way differently, because we're never going to survive like this. We're never going to survive like this, bro. We are fucking fucked. Dry, no lube. We are screwed, bro. The next 10 years I said, oh, I want to make sure that I'm rich and financially stable. I don't even think that's going to even happen. Even if I put my plan into commence. We're fucked. We are fucked. Someone out there, please teach us. Please. How to survive in this fucking country, bro, because we're all gonna drown. Straight up.
Some of you might remember when back in 2022 I made this video and it went absolutely viral. I don't know how this happened. It got 4 million views. It was on the news. It was crazy, babes. One thing that I learned after that video is that people in the UK, they don't stick together. They don't unite. They will rather eat rather than stick together and actually make some changes. Also, what I realized is that people in the UK are not angry enough about what's happening to this country. This video, I was talking about how much money I earn and how much is my bills and everything that costs to survive. One of the bills that I listed was Spotify. I said I'm paying $9.99 for Spotify. People ate me up in the comments talking about how dare you have a Spotify when you don't have enough money for this. I said in the video that was kind of the only entertainment pleasure that I had in my life was music. The only thing that I had in that moment, because I could not afford to do anything else. I couldn't go out, I couldn't see my friends, I couldn't travel, I couldn't do anything. Entertainment, and the only way of switching up from this world was listening to music. Sounds very dramatic, I know, but it really was. I said that I think my phone bill was £50 at the time. There you have a phone. Phone is not necessity. You shouldn't have a phone when you can't afford it. First of all, who doesn't have a phone today? Phone is an absolute necessity. Thank you. Don't get me wrong, I understand the point. I have money and I shouldn't be spending on anything that's no absolute necessity. I get that. Trust me, I really do. Fast forward today, I don't have Spotify. I use the free version and I got rid of my phone. I bought my phone outright, some old phone, and I'm only paying for data. I'm still broke. Nothing has changed here after I cancelled that $9.99 Spotify. Even after I cancelled my Spotify, my life didn't change in any way. I'm still broke to this day. Instead of focusing on me having Spotify or me having phone, God forbid a girl has a phone to contact with the outside world, maybe we should focus on the fact that this government is taking our money possible to survive on minimum wage. Also, people were saying, change jobs, why you work a minimum wage job? You work as a barista, what do you expect? The point is, I can leave. I can up my life. I can start a business today and make £1 million of it. Maybe, I don't know, anything can happen in the next person that's gonna come and join. They're gonna be in the same position that I was. And there's millions of people in the UK that are in the same position. Because guess what? Somebody has to do these minimum wage jobs. Somebody has to serve your coffee. Somebody has to do the cleaning jobs. Somebody has to work in bakery so you can have fresh croissant on your way to work. Somebody has to do it. I was speaking for all of us that are struggling financially. Don't get me wrong, I did have nice comments. There was tons and tons of people that were on my side, that were understanding where I'm coming from. I think this is why that video went so big, is because people can actually relate to everything that I said. Spray. Trust me, there was loads of positive comments and love. I never forgot about those. But all I'm saying, there was also tons of negative stuff telling me you shouldn't have this, you shouldn't have that. We shouldn't live like this. This shouldn't be the life that we live in. Which people actually do the hardest work behind the scenes that no one sees. Video, I was actually speaking for all of us minimum wage people. In living wage that is not living no more. How are you supposed to survive on $12.21 per hour? Come on, thinking then This is why this government is doing whatever they want to us, because people are not united, people are not standing together. Instead of the biggest problem here, which is government. Before any of you say go back to your country, because I had plenty of comments like this. How dare me with my Polish accent talking about situation in the UK? I'm citizen, same like you. Just because I have this accent doesn't mean I don't have right to speak up. Trust me, it is on my mind to leave. I'm thinking about it very hard every single day. Only gonna get worse from now in this country, which is really upsetting because I love this country. This feels like home to me. So to see whatever is happening here is really upsetting. If you go outside and merge, no one cares. Real action happens if all of us just stop paying council tax. Do you guys remember what Keir Starmer, when he was running for Prime Minister, he was telling us that he will stop council tax for 1 year. You're not going to pay council tax bill for 1 year if you vote for him.
No income tax, no national insurance, no VAT.
I'm determined to put money back in the pockets of working people. And that's why a Labour government would freeze council tax this year. No ifs, no buts.
Labour would freeze council tax next year.
And we're going to freeze council tax next year. You could rip up that council tax bill because you would not pay a penny more.
And then he won. And he didn't do it. We are still paying council tax. Just forgot about what he said to us. Everyone just forgot. He lied. He literally lied to us. Know that I voted for him. Would have fell for this shit, and he didn't do it. He literally lied to us. Do you guys remember when there was pandemic in 2020 and they told us we have to stay indoors? People couldn't see their families, couldn't attend funerals of their loved ones. People lost lives due to mental health issues, yet they were having parties in the parliament or wherever they were.
Stay at home. Because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households.
Why is people not angry that they are lying to us? Why no one is saying anything? Why no one is doing anything? That's what pisses me off. Everyone is complaining about the bills and the energy bills. Why don't we just stop, all of us, just stop paying the bills? They need to feel the effect of what they do to people, because no one is doing anything. And if all of us just stop paying energy bills, they will have to lower the bill. CEOs, they don't give a fuck about you struggling or me struggling. At the end of the day, they still got the check. I learned from making that video and going so viral is people don't stick together. They will rather pick on each other, find each other's mistakes, and then focus on the main problem, which is this fucking government.
Australia is the best country in the world. There's not a human being on planet Earth who can convince me otherwise. It is the best country in the world, and we're incredibly grateful to live in this wonderful place. And these are the 3 reasons why we left the UK to live in Australia. Now, first and foremost, despite what people think, the cost of living in Australia is cheaper than the UK now. It is. I don't care what anybody says. It is cheaper to live here in Australia now than it is the UK. The cost of living in the UK is eye-watering now. You wouldn't believe how much money it costs to live in that place and what you get for your money. Oh, it is terrible. You get so much more for your money here in Australia. It's just incredible. Secondly, quality of life. The quality of life in Australia in comparison to the UK is just second to none. What a beautiful country. There's so much free things to do. You've just got a better work-life balance. It's just better. It's just better. We feel so much better in ourselves living and working here in Australia than we ever did back in the UK. The UK is a proper rat race. It's just not pleasant. And it's not until you leave the UK that you truly realise and open your eyes to how, horrible it is to live there, unfortunately. And now they've got the bad weather coming. Ooh, I feel for them. Thirdly, safety. Now, the crime in the UK is astronomical. Like, I don't know how people parent there and have kids there, because they must be petrified of them going out and about with their friends. Whereas here in Australia, the kids are out and about. I can honestly say, hand on heart, walking around, I've not once seen a gang of children in a park smoking weed, doing things they shouldn't have been. Not once. It's incredible. Whereas you go to the UK, Everywhere you look, gangs of kids misbehaving in the wrong environment. The kids here are so friendly, confident. Don't get me wrong, you get your bad eggs, but that's life, isn't it? In a world full of problems, Australia's got a lot less than most people, especially the UK. Australia, for me, is hand on heart, pound for pound, the best country in the world, and we're super grateful to be here. We love it.
I live in Vietnam, and here are 3 reasons I never want to live in the UK again. Now, the first one, cost of living. I don't need to tell you how expensive things are in the UK, and it's getting worse and worse. Even with a half-decent job, it's a struggle. Secondly, the weather. I thought I didn't mind the drizzle and the short winter days, but it turns out, funnily enough, if you live somewhere with sun, you feel better, you feel happier. And thirdly is that sense of community. So I know it's still there in some communities in the UK, but in other places it's being eroded.
In the UK, 30% of people have less than £500 in savings. So if anything goes wrong, they're pretty screwed. What is the average savings rate per age group in the UK right now, as of 2025? Between 18 and 24, the average savings rate is £3,600. Now, I think that's pretty good for that age group. I certainly didn't have that much when I was that age. Between 25 and 34, it doesn't go up much, but it's at £3,700. So it has gone up a little bit. Now, these are averages. So it's worth bearing in mind that there will be some people that have a lot of cash that are pulling it up a little bit. Between 35 and 44, it's 5,700. I have rounded these numbers just to make them a little bit easier, by the way. From 45 to 54, it's getting up a little bit. We're at £9,400. This is your peak earning years. So at this point, you'd want to have a little bit put away. Between 55 and 73, I don't know why there is such a big gap for this one. It's £18,200. And it peaks at 73 plus, where it's £36,900. And not only do 30% of people have less than £500, another 30% have nothing whatsoever. So in the UK, we're in a pretty desperate situation in terms of savings. If anything goes wrong in the household, we're going to be pretty screwed. For me, the absolute best way to get around this is to start investing. It just needs to be small, and you just need to start if you're going to take advantage of that compounding. If you do want to start investing, there's a link in my bio to Trading 2 and 2 where you can get a free fractional share worth up to £100 when you deposit just £1. Any questions, let me know.
People are fucking scared. They are terrified. And you know what? I do not blame them. Rightly so. Because I feel like this is all becoming normal. Every other day, another attack, another stabbing, another murder. But it's alright, because guess what? They were UK nationals. It's okay. It's not okay. It's really not. And if we look at a long list, Lee Rigby, Southport, Manchester, 7-7. All UK nationals. You know the saying, right? If a pig is born in a barn, does it make it a horse? No. So just because somebody's born here does not mean that they share our core beliefs, values, and humanity. That's it. And I am sick of the fear that my children are being brought up in. That's it. Bottom line, nothing else. I don't care the colour of your skin. You could be pink, purple, blue with polka dots. That isn't my problem. My problem is the fucking fear, genuine fear, that genuine, ordinary, everyday people are now living with. It is bullshit.
The average UK household now pays around £4,200 a year just to cover the interest on the government debt, not to reduce it, not to pay it off. That's just interest, a fact that should make every single British person stop and think. The UK's total national debt has hit £2.6 trillion, and it's costing the country more than ever to borrow money. Why? Because interest rates went up, inflation stayed high, and the government's been overspending for decades, from bailouts in 2008 to COVID support, just to keep the lights on. And now all that borrowing has to be serviced, and it's us, the taxpayers, footing the bill. We're heading into the next budget, and it's already being called one of the toughest in years. I'm nervous. Cuts are coming. Taxes could rise, and if you feel like you're already struggling, like I feel, you're not imagining it. this is the financial pressure cooker we're all living in. Honestly, it's not that difference from a maxed out credit card. When you've spent too much, the only way out is to pay it down. It's slowly, painfully, but it's necessary. The problem is, unlike your credit card, this one's shared by 68 million people. So yeah, I'm nervous about the budget, because even if it's needed, it's going to hurt. But at some point, the bill for the past 15 years was always going to land on our doorstep. I post daily from the road. Follow for more.
So the budget is coming, and they've already announced a 4% pay increase for people that are on benefits. That's good. That'll keep them in benefits, won't it? Instead of going out and getting a job, 4%. And on the other side, they are taking around 2 billion, I think, from middle class taxes. So if you're working and you're middle class, your tax is going up quite a lot because they're getting £2 billion. Remember that they promised all this money to all these countries. It's got to come from somewhere, and it's coming from your pocket. And then on the other side, if you're on claiming benefits, you get more money. How the fucking hell is that right? Well, look what Amazon's done. 14,000 jobs they've got rid of, replaced them with AI. So they're starting from the bottom, aren't they? Chipping away at that, making it more attractive to be on benefits. It's going to go to a credit system, isn't it? So there'll be no one working. You'll be on a credit system, and that'll be on how good you are and full control, digital ID. It's all working out quite nicely, isn't it? Meanwhile, we create loads of chaos in the UK. We don't tackle crime. We let everything go crazy, so then we can start implementing these ridiculous rules and laws. The UK is on the verge of snapping. There'll be civil unrest. It's coming. People are really tired of this shit.
Do you want your heart breaking? Go and have a look at my story. I posted a video that I did yesterday. It's got over 200,000 views, talking about the state of the UK and how nobody's got any money left. Can you remember how they used to say, I've not got any money left at the end of the month? Or there's too much month left at the end of my paycheck. Can you remember when we used to say that? Well, go and read the comments in that video that I've posted on my story that I posted yesterday. There are thousands of people in there that haven't even got any money left at the start of the month. It all began because I've made a post about people not having any money. I was sat next to a woman having a coffee who was saying that on the 6th of November, she had a council tax to come out and that would leave her with £50 left. Well, what a shitstorm it's created. Now, when I say I've had hundreds of people messaging me saying, I can't believe you've raised this point. I've got £10 left. I've got £12 left. I've got £9 left. I've got 15p left. And we're only on the 8th of November today. Yeah, the 8th already. So go and watch that video, repost it. Because whilst everybody's out here arguing about what flag to put up and whether Labour are any good or Reform are any good, the country's fucking broken. This is the state of one of the richest countries in the world. The vast majority of people aren't even scraping by. They're having to borrow, go to food bank, credit card debt, borrowing from parents. It's no wonders Greggs gets rampaged every weekend. So that's the real state of broken Britain. I dare you to go and read the comments because they are going to break your fucking heart. That's the video that you need to be tagging Rupert Lowen and Nigel and Richard Tice and Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves. Because yeah, we know that there's other problems that are easily fixed. And people have said, well, voting reforming isn't going to stop people not being able to survive. No, they won't immediately, but at least they'll do something about it.
Has anyone else actually had enough of England? Like, it is 9th of July, middle of summer, and it's pissing it down. It's like a November day. It's freezing. I've got a coat on. I've got a jumper on. I've got the heating on in my car. I've just had the heating on in my house. That also costs a fortune. Like, the cost of living here is ridiculous. The summer, you can't even plan anything. You can't have a barbecue. You can't take the kids to the park. You literally can't plan anything because the weather's so shit. England's expensive. Houses are expensive. The cost of living's expensive. And there's so many nicer places than the UK. And we live here for what? I'm literally here because of family. Like, has anyone else just had enough and just want to up sticks and leave? Like, honestly, if it wasn't for my family living here, I'd have been long gone. But I'm seriously tempted to just move anyway. There's nothing here. Like, the winters are shit. The summers are shit. Everything's expensive. Like, does anyone else just question it and just think that they want to move? Because I'm questioning why I even live here anymore. It's awful.
Well, doesn't this just highlight how tough things are in the UK right now? I mean, we're not far off. Half of the country have £1,000 or less in their savings. And actually 16% of the country have no savings whatsoever. You're talking about 40% of our country are living paycheck to paycheck. They're admittedly one emergency away from potentially going into debt. Of course, it'll be no surprise that 44% of the country are not saving at all in the last year or have reduced their savings and investments. I mean, here's the average savings by age, and you can see, it generally increases as you get older, up to 55 plus. But I find it quite interesting just how low they are. Particularly in the young years. I mean, look, up to the mid-40s, that's not a lot, is it? And actually it shows, look here, it reduces at this stage, probably because that's when most people are having children. For me, talking about investing, it shows what a privilege it is to be able to do so. It also highlights how things need to change in our country. The cost of living is so high, but also we have such a high tax burden, the highest since World War II. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it's just so frustrating to see. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and before you go, don't forget to like and follow for more finance and investing content.
Let's be real. This isn't just a rough patch. This is what happens when a country forgets how to look after its own people. According to the ONS, nearly 60% of households in the UK say they're struggling to pay essential bills. Over 1 in 5 workers admit they've skipped meals to afford rent or travel. Food banks are at record highs, and more than half of renters spend over 30% of their income just keeping a roof over their heads. People aren't lazy. They're exhausted. You can't budget better when there's nothing left to budget. You can't work harder when you're already doing 50 hours a week and still can't afford peace of mind. This isn't about personal responsibility. It's about a broken system that's bleeding working people dry, while CEOs take bonuses and politicians talk about growth. So what needs to change? Real wage growth, not headlines. Affordable housing, not investor playgrounds. Price regulation, so food and energy stop being luxury goods. And above all, honesty. Stop telling people it's getting better when they can see it's not. Because right now Britain's not bouncing back, it's burning out. And the people keeping it running, nurses, delivery drivers, teachers, cleaners, they're the ones paying the highest price. You've been watching Brit Rants, where we say what everyone's thinking while the politicians pretend it's fine. If you're tired of surviving instead of living, subscribe, drop your rant in the comments and share this. Because until something changes, this isn't recovery. It's collapse in slow motion.